fiance and I just sold our house. We are back to renting.
We sold our house and moved to an apartment.
I'm in the process of selling my house.
I'm selling my 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot house to move into a 1-bedroom apartment.
Oh, I'm just tired of this. Let me just get it over with. I'm just done with it. I don't want the house no more.
Yes, I'm relieved to no longer own my home. I'm so glad I sold it.
For years, home ownership was the American dream. But for a lot of people, that dream is falling apart. Mortgage payments are exploding. Insurance keep going up. Repairs never stop. And some homeowners are walking away completely. Today, we're looking at the stories behind that decision. And why more and more Americans are saying, I can't do this no more. I'm gone.
I honestly wish somebody would have told me how overrated it is to own a home. My fiance and I just sold our house. We are back to renting. I'm ecstatic. He's ecstatic. We are saving so much. We were really young and stupid when we bought our house, so I'll give you that. But the weight that has been lifted off of our shoulders is, I can't explain it. There is so much maintenance that comes with the house, and our mortgage was ridiculously expensive. I can't even say the number because I'm embarrassed. We are probably not going to buy again for a very long time, or at least until we find our forever home. Just a PSA, if you're not ready for the maintenance and the cost that it comes to own a house, don't do it. Take your time. Please take your time. Find a good realtor.
I am selling my house, and I'm selling a house that has a very low interest rate and a relatively low mortgage, especially for the area that I live in. And I'm not doing this to buy a bigger house. I'm actually doing this. I'm going to choose to go back to renting. And it feels crazy. It objectively is crazy. And my entire For You page is filled with videos that are saying, you know, we'll never see these rates again. We'll never see, you know, inflation. And, you know, we all know how expensive everything is these days. And I will likely never own property for this amount again. But I can't keep up with homeownership. And I think when I did this, I assumed that this was the dream. The dream was to own property. But no one explained how heavy it is to do it on your own and to fix all the things that go wrong and keep up with all the maintenance and to just deal with the city that you live in when there are issues, deal with contractors and contractors not showing up, and you know, all the things that go wrong in an older home and the unexpected costs that come about. I had a $25,000 issue come up last year. I've had multiple smaller $1,000 issue, new water heater, new furnace, all those things that, you know, are expected with owning an older home. But I just haven't heard of anyone talking kind of about the other side of it and, you know, potentially choosing to give up what is considered the dream of, you know, homeownership for going back to a different lifestyle of renting, a lifestyle where I can just text the landlord when something goes wrong or, you know, use the property company. And, you know, I've debated and wondered if I'm making a mistake, but I'm going to try it out and see what happens. And this is just to say that it doesn't have to be, even though it could be right for everyone, it doesn't have to be right for you. Homeownership is not matching up with my lifestyle right now. I don't want to be doing yard work every day. I don't want to be on the phone constantly when things go wrong. I don't want contractors in and out of my house for days on end. So you only get one life. Do what works for you. You don't have to hold on to that house or that piece of property just because you have a low interest rate. I'm choosing to believe that the right thing will happen for me and that I will have opportunities in the future to do this again. And I'm trusting that the universe will provide those for me. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's real, man. In my apartments that I'm in right now, I see a lot of older people, man. Even people nowadays, they realizing, bro, why I got this house for? Ain't nothing but a ball and chain. What? And then I can't move. There's another lady who I used to live with. She just moved away. She was like, I love owning an apartment because I'm free. I don't have, of course, the maintenance, of course, the stress. And then she told me she travels to different states every other couple of years. She just went to Arkansas. So that's what's up. You can't do that owning a house.
I'm selling my 4-bedroom, 2,000 square foot house to move into a 1-bedroom apartment. And on paper, that sounds like a huge downgrade, but I'm actually really excited because selling this house is going to make me about $90,000. And 90 grand is going to pay off so much of my fucking debt, man. Like a ridiculous amount. I'm going to open up $2,600 a month. That is so much time. And I haven't felt like I've had my time. I felt like my time has just been donated to my mistakes. I'm really excited to wipe some of that out, man. Feels good.
Tell me why we sold our house and moved to an apartment and we're the happiest that we've ever been. We owned an over 100-year-old house and we thought, hey, this will be fun. It was beautiful, all the wood in the house, everything. But it ended up being quite a chore. Like, something was always breaking. And in the 6 years we lived there, we had to fix like every single infrastructure utilities thing possible, and the market's really bad right now to buy, so we decided, F it, we're selling it, we're moving to an apartment. Okay, it's a newer apartment. It's like 1,000 square feet compared to like the 2,300 square feet that we had before. It's only a 1-car garage, which before we only had 1 car, but now we need 2, so we bought another one. My husband doesn't get to park in it, of course, and we're just way more happy. Okay, everyone tells you, oh my god, you're wasting money if you rent, you have to own your house. Like, you know what, fuck that. We weren't happy, and now we are. And it's just another way that I'm seeing that everyone has lied to us. Because every single thing I've done in my life, like go to school, blah, 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 get a job, buy a house, get married the first time, all bullshit. Anyway, anybody else?
I'm a middle-aged millennial who bought their first house at 25 and decided to sell at 32 and go back to renting. And I don't want to talk about the reasons why I did it. I'm not going to defend my decision, and I'm also not here to tell you whether or not you should do what I did. What I'm here to do is offer you a space, judgment-free, where you can relate with my experience and relate to other people who are going through the same thing. I think our society is extremely vocal about supporting people who want to buy their first home, but there's not a lot of conversation about what happens when you decide that homeownership isn't for you at that exact time. Should we have purchased our first home at age 25? Probably not. It felt like the natural next step. We got married when we were 23. We got a house by the time we were 25. And at the time, we had planned on potentially having kids. We changed our minds, and it's okay to change your mind. So in a country that values freedom above all else, you should have the freedom to live where you want to live and be who you want to be, and the freedom for that to change over time. But we are constantly fed the idea that owning a home is a superior way of living. And I think it forces some people into making decisions that probably are not the best decisions for them financially. So really, I'm just here for a little bit of validation. If you're thinking about selling your house, not buying a house, or you're afraid of what people are going to think when you go back to renting after owning for a while, this is a safe space for you. I never intended for my page to become a discussion about renting versus buying, but I'm being given the opportunity to talk about it and to help other people feel seen, heard, and appreciated in a market that really values people just buying homes, and that really makes you feel bad for wanting to rent, because there's space for everybody. And realistically, our economy cannot function on home ownership alone. So if you've bought a home and you're starting to second guess your decision, I encourage you to comment with your experience, because through this app I found out that I'm not alone and that the judgmental voices don't have to be the loudest.
Do what makes you happy. If you don't want to own a home, sell that home. Go back to the apartment. Get up out of there.
I sold my house to go back to renting, and I made a video about it and people were pissed. So here's an update. Absolutely zero regrets. I am so happy. I feel so free. I think what a lot of people didn't realize in the other video was that was the best decision for us. If you have a low mortgage and a great interest rate, obviously don't sell your house. But I want to emphasize on do not buy if you are not ready. Do not let your family and friends pressure you into buying, and especially not society. I don't care how old you are. If you're not ready, don't do it. Renting is amazing, and it's an amazing option. Buying a home is a huge responsibility. You don't have a property manager. You don't have a maintenance phone number that you can call and ask them to come fix something for you. You're the property manager. You're the maintenance person. Maybe one day we'll think about buying a home again, but I am in no rush whatsoever. We're 28, we're engaged, and I'm just taking it day by day. Are we almost 30 years old and we're supposed to be married and supposed to have a home and supposed to have kids? I don't care what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to. And that's what I mean by not letting pressure and society tell you otherwise. We get so many questions about kids, marriage. We are doing things on our own timeline. We are not rushed.
Get ready with me for an art show. So your girl decided that she was going to take her hair down. Half of my hair is down. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but you know, we're going to figure it out. All right, so I'm going to do a story time on why I moved out of my house into an apartment. Had every intention of renting it, but then I ended up selling it. So now I am in a rented apartment, and I think I am the happiest that I've ever been. When you get to a certain age, a lot of people always encourage you to buy a home. Even though you're single or not, it's always a good investment. Real estate is always good investment if you invest right. I was 28 when I bought my first house, when I purchased my first home. I purchased in August of 2019. One thing they don't tell you when you're buying a home, especially as a single woman, is the amount of work that it takes. Anyway, after purchasing my home, one thing I realized was how much I was not ready for that responsibility. For me, it was actually adulting overload. My house triggered my loneliness really bad. Realizing that 100% of the ownership on the home was on me was 100% overwhelming. I'm like, I already adult so much. I don't want to adult anymore. It took me 3 years to realize how much I did not like home ownership. This was in October of 2022 when I had to put on my big girl panties and make a decision for myself, because I knew that a lot of people would say, why are you leaving your house? Why are you leaving your home? It doesn't make sense for you to rent again. I just knew the questions would continuously come, but I got to the point where I just didn't care. So with that in mind, I made the decision in October of 2022 that I was gonna move out of my apartment or of my house and actually buy a condo. At that point, it would raise double my interest rate if I decided to refinance. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But then I feel like the Holy Spirit just told me rent for a year. So that's exactly what I did. And it's so funny because the thought of renting got me so excited. And I think it's because I just knew, like, when you rent, you ain't gotta worry about nothing. I've always wanted the floor to ceiling window apartment overlooking the city. I was like, this is my time to shine. It is my time to shine. I'm pretty sure these are 2 different lashes, but we just gonna make it work. At that point, your girl made her decision, moved out of the house, tried to rent the apartment, and I had a horrible property management company. I started praying about it, and I was like, you know what? This ain't it. So I listed my house on the market and closed in May. I just wanted to share this to let you know, if you are not ready to buy a home, that is okay. Do not let people make you feel like crap because you have chosen to rent. If you are like me and you are a soft baby, you are a tender baby girl, my dear, it's okay if you don't want to buy a house. Nobody's beating you. Honestly, this decision taught me to do what works for me and for nobody else. Right now, I am super happy. It was the best decision that I ever made. Real estate is an amazing venture if you have the mindset to work super hard on that. Real estate is not everybody's passion, and that is okay. Just because everybody is doing it does not mean that it's for me. Yeah, I forgot to put my cream blush before the powder, so now I put it after the powder and then put some more powder on top to tone it down a little bit because it's kind of doing too much. Life is way too short for you to not do what you want to do when you want to do it. And I would say that's what happened to me, but I just did feel like in that moment, that's what you're supposed to do. But I hope this helped you make your decision. Now go to my next video to know what your girl does with this hair and what outfit she's gonna wear to this art show, because pray for me.
Yeah, that's because times has changed, bro. It's not the dream no more, man. Stuff changes, bro. I know a lot of the older generations are like, oh man, this generation lazy, lazy, the lazy allegations, the homeownership allegations. But you gotta really stop. You gotta realize stuff changes. Even with music, bro, hip hop changed, rock changed, all this stuff changes. Ain't nothing gonna stay the same. And if it did stay the same, people gonna complain. It's the same. It's the same. Nobody buying a house because it's not worth it anymore. It's a scam. It's too high. You got corporations buying houses and then flipping them. They buying houses like drugs and they selling it back to us, trying to sell it to us like we want that. But how am I gonna compete with Zillow? How am I gonna compete with Redfin? Boy, it's over with. Yep, I agree. Fuck being a homeowner, I need to be free. Excited for apartment life. I took the music out because it was copyrighted. But congratulations, do your thing.
I want to share with you all a major milestone in my life. I decided to put my house up for sale, and so I have sold my home. I sold my home in under the last 7 days, and so I'm going to be moving. I had actually put my home up for sale last year in August, if you guys were following me then, and I was in the point of selling my house, and then some major life changes happened, and I ended up having to change things around, and I didn't sell then. So now I have put my house back up for sale about 7 to 8 days ago maybe, and the house is now sold. So what I did was I decided I wanted to downsize. So that allowed me to reduce all my debt and to be able to take the proceeds from my home that I sold and to get something significantly smaller, because the home that I sold was over 3,100 square feet, half an acre backyard, fully fenced in, with a deck, and nice place. 5 bedrooms, 3 full bath, and some bonus rooms. So it's just a time in my life where things are changing. I'm feeling happy, excited, and very blessed, and looking forward to what God is going to do next in my life. So to those of you who are thinking about downsizing and getting something smaller, because you really don't need something as so again, if you're thinking about downsizing, I think now's the perfect time to do it. Interest rates are starting to drop, and they aren't as high as they were before. If you're looking at purchasing a new home or buying your first home, whatever it may be.
This next clip, she happy. She relieved, man. And I'm with her. Let's look at this.
Yes, I'm relieved to no longer own my home. I'm so glad I sold it. I made a video about it, so let's talk about it. I figured I'd do a few clarifications about some things in the comments because I feel like it's needed, and it's nice to answer some of the things that people comment about so that they know, like, I'm reading the comments and I have a response. First, I'd like to start off by saying how many people are in a similar situation or were in a similar situation or are trying to get out of a mortgage. It's crazy. Like, I knew a lot of people were experiencing an issue with their property taxes going higher, interest, high interest rates, being upside down in their house, insurance going up, but I didn't realize how many people it was. Luckily and thankfully, I was not upside down in my house because I purchased the house at a pretty good time, and I purchased it in a more coveted area that the value of homes in my area were steadily increasing, but that's not the case for a lot of people. There are people upside down in mortgages, and it's like they can't sell because they won't make enough to pay for the house, but they also can't keep it because the house isn't worth what they're paying for and their mortgage is going up, so they're in a really bad position. And it's so crazy because now they're stuck doing the very thing that they thought they were supposed to do, is work hard, make money, buy a house, you know, take care of their family. Now it's put them in a really bad position, and I really, really hate that. Someone said that this was a big house for a first-time home buyer. As I said in the video, this was not my first time buying a house. I've owned my primary residence for years now. That was not my first home. I purchased a townhouse in Maryland prior to purchasing that property. So I got a larger property, which was my single family home. But prior to that, I did own a townhouse, and I don't think it was too big for one person because I am the only one that knows what my needs are and why I need space for what I need it for. And I feel like if you want something smaller, that's okay for you. But if I want something with more space, then that's okay for me. We all have to purchase homes or rent or do whatever we need to do to suit our own lifestyles. It's important to be mindful of that. Someone made a snarky little comment that it helps if you have a husband. It's never a shortage of men who feel like having a man is the ultimate answer to every issue or problem. It's always so interesting how that happens. I'm a firm believer that people should do what makes them happy. They don't need to wait for a man or a woman, for that matter, in order to make life decisions. I think that that's a very poor way to view life and to live. Someone else said that educating yourself, or rather people who resent home ownership, aren't educated on it, and I wholeheartedly disagree. You can be 100% educated on it, and knowing what you know about it will make you resent it, because you know what it is and you know what it does and you know how it works, and it will make you resent it. So I don't think it's a lack of education that makes people resent home ownership. I think it's lifestyle. Sometimes home ownership just doesn't simply fit your lifestyle, and that's okay. Everyone leads a different life. Everyone has a different way of doing things, a different family dynamic, a different type of career, and sometimes owning a house just doesn't fit that narrative at that time. But I don't think it's fair to say people who resent it aren't educated on it. I think that's a very unfair assessment to make. So let's break something down. When I had my house in Maryland, my taxes never went up. The whole time I stayed in that house for several years, they never went up. However, that doesn't have anything to do with your interest. People were saying, well, just pay more on the principal. Paying more on the principal still does not take away from the fact that your taxes can go up, your insurance can go up, and you're still going to be paying a ton of interest on the loan. People are like, oh, I pay an extra $200 a month in principal. Good for you. I'm glad you do that. But that doesn't take away from the fact of, if your taxes get raised and you have to pay several $100s more in taxes on top of more insurance, that doesn't do anything. Okay, great. You're paying an extra $200 towards your principal. That's amazing. But that doesn't take away the other issues. Those things live in a vacuum. So it doesn't help with other problems just because you're paying more towards the principal. Everyone who owns a house knows they can pay more towards the principal. That's not like you didn't give us some gem of knowledge. Everyone knows that. Like, that is not what I was speaking on. I was speaking on the fact of taxes rising, and how the majority of your mortgage when you first buy a home for several years, is the bulk of it is interest. So even if you do pay more towards the principal, you still have to pay that bulk of interest because the lenders want their money. So let's talk about some of the reasons here. One, mostly being I travel a lot. I found myself traveling 2, sometimes 3 weeks out of the month. So having a house where I was paying that type of money for it on top of traveling several weeks out of a month just honestly made no sense. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what you're doing. To throw away money is just stupid. So I wasn't going to throw away money on a house that I didn't get to enjoy when I'm out of that house most of the month. It made no sense. It wasn't logical, and I'm a logical person, and I'm not going to do things that don't make any sense. So when your lifestyle is a certain way, you need to acclimate to it. So being as though I'm traveling a lot, my partner lives in London, out of the country a lot, I didn't need that house. So I did what I needed to do for my personal situation and my personal life. It has, like, people love to try to put their opinions of what they do or what they think you should do. Like, baby, you don't live my life. You don't know anything about me. People were asking if I walked away with anything and all of that. Yes, I did. I sold my house for $200,000 more than what I bought it for 3 years ago. So yes, I did walk away with the money I put down, as well as $200,000 over what I bought it for. So I did make money off of the deal. I do want to say I think the housing market is headed in a really bad direction. It's being propped up right now. Interest rates are crazy. They're trying to lower them bit by bit, but they're so high because they're trying to stabilize the market. And I think the bubble is going to pop, and it's going to be a lot of foreclosures, and people are going to lose their homes. And I wanted to sell my house before people were in a situation where they couldn't purchase, because it's going to get even worse than it already is. And I didn't want to be stuck with my house knowing I want to travel, I want to be here, I want to be there, and I'm stuck with a house. So I wanted to get rid of that house while I still could, in order to better suit where I am in my life right now. So crazy, because a few people were like, well, what are you gonna do at 70? Rent? Like, what are y'all gonna do when you get older? When you retire, you're gonna rent? Okay, what's wrong with renting? But this is my thing. You act like people can't buy another house. I've bought 2. I can buy 3, 4, 5. I can buy a house tomorrow if I want to buy a house. You act like that opportunity is gone. It's like it's fleeting or something. You can go out here and buy a house anytime. That's like, I don't understand that. Just because I sold my house and I'm deciding not to buy right now does not mean I will never buy. I'll probably buy again in a few years. Like, I don't understand that. And even if you do rent at 70, what's wrong with that? As long as you got somewhere to live, as long as you've built up a good nest egg and you can take care of yourself and take care of your family or whatever it is that you need to do. Like, y'all are very judgmental. So what if a person rents at 70 or whatever? They're probably living on Social Security. They probably don't have enough money to do certain things anyway. Like, stop pushing y'all's judgment of what you would and wouldn't do on other people. It's so weird. Then it was, oh, rent goes up every year too, baby. When rent goes up, it definitely doesn't go up in the increments that a mortgage does, okay? If your rent went up $100 a month when you signed your lease, whoop-de-doo. Mine went up $1,500 from the time I bought my house until now. So, like, it's not even comparable. As well as saying rent prices are the same as mortgage prices. I get so tired of hearing that. I have never seen a rent price since I've been looking for places as much as what I was paying for my mortgage. And I'm not looking at apartments. I'm looking at townhouses because I don't want to live in an apartment, because people for some reason automatically assume because you're renting, you're staying in an apartment. Everywhere I've looked have been townhouses, and I'm going to do some videos of some of the tours I've been on, but I don't know why y'all just assume that you can only rent apartments. You know, you can rent houses, you can rent townhouses. Like, y'all think outside of the box, baby. Think outside of the box. But all in all, I think owning can be a beautiful thing. I think if you want to own, you should. If you want to rent, you should. I don't push behaviors on people, and I also don't tell people, well, this is what I think makes more sense and this is smarter to do and this is what you should do, because at the end of the day, I only live my life. I don't live anyone else's life, and I don't try to live anyone else's life. That's not my job. I was put on this earth to live my life and stay in my skin. I can only share my experiences and what has happened with me and for me, and try to lend some information and knowledge to others to help them make informed decisions. But I don't try to live anyone else's life for them. I would never tell you to rent. I would never tell you to buy. I would tell you to do what works best for your situation, because I don't know your financial situation. I don't know your work situation, your personal situation, your romantic situation. I don't know any of those things to say, oh girl, you should rent or you should buy because this is better to do. I know what's best for me to do at this point in my life, but I could never tell another person what they should do for at any point in their life. And I don't think anyone else should either. But once again, I'm going to be sharing more about this journey with you guys, but I just figured I'd put out a few clarifications about my last video before I go into the other videos about my journey after home ownership.
So yeah, man, like I was previously saying, if you don't want a home, don't buy a home. Don't be feeling peer pressure by these older school folks. And there's nothing wrong with old school folks. I love them. They got a lot of knowledge, but times has changed. Stuff is different. Stuff is different. So don't feel peer pressure. If you feel like you got to do it, if you feel like you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Just know, I feel like realistically and responsibly, you need to have that money. You need to have that cheddar, have that bank account looking fleek. For those who don't know, fleek means looks good, but have it looking good, man, before you even get out in the neighborhood and buy a house like you think you should. Bars. But yeah, don't do it because if you ain't got the money, because something gonna break. Water gonna break. Something gonna mess up. Something, and then guess who that is? It's on you. If I live in Texas. Let's let the air break, and boy, it's over with. And you ain't got no money to fix it, or your credit ain't the best, or you got debt already, man, y'all better, yeah, because folks clap, all you got a house, they give you a little champagne bottle, they give you a little celebration, a little party, housewarming, but let your air go out. It's gonna be a real housewarming. You're gonna be warm for real, yeah, no, and people don't, unless you got a real group of people that's helping you, them people that came to the housewarming and them people that's clapping you up ain't gonna help you. They gonna look at you. They're just gonna turn their head. They're gonna watch your Instagram story. They're gonna watch your story. You're gonna be like, somebody help me, crying, and they're gonna just look at you. They might get on private another profile and look at you, so it's an anonymous view. There's no, it's them. But yeah, man. Again, it's been Josh from Talk to Him, boy. If y'all know anybody who's going through this, drop it down in the comments. It's been Josh from Talk to Him, boy. I just talked to you, boy.